Hello everyone, today we will discuss cranial nerves. The cranial nerves are totally 12 pairs. 12 pairs of the cranial nerves. In the previous class, we will discuss first to 6 cranial nerves. In this class, we will discuss 7th to 12th cranial nerves. So the 7th nerve, facial nerve. 7th nerve, facial nerve. So this nerve is called mixed nerve. The facial nerve is a mixed nerve. So these are the mixed nerve. Facial nerve is a mixed nerve. So in this nerve, starting from the, so first one, a motor function. First one, motor function. So in this neuron, starting from the pons varoli. So in this neuron, starting from the pons varoli. So it is starting from the pons varoli. It is ending palate, hyoid, maxillary and mandibular glands. So these are the motor function. The facial nerve contain a mixed nerve. Mixed nerve means there are the two functions, motor function and sensory function. First one, motor function. The motor fibers. These motor fibers starting from the pons varoli. It is ending from the palate. These fibers ending from the palate, hyoid, maxillary and mandibular glands. Next one, sensory function. Next one, sensory function. So its sensory function, it is starting from the anterior 2/3 of taste buds of tongue. Taste buds of the tongue. So it is starting from the anterior 2/3 of the taste buds of the tongue. It is ending from pons varoli. So these are the facial nerve. They are the facial nerve. So they are the facial nerve. So they are the mixed nerve. So they are the motor function and sensory function. First one, motor function. So the motor fibers starting from the pons varoli. These motor fibers ending from the facial. So they are ending from the facial regions from the palate, hyoid, maxillary and mandibular glands. Next one, sensory. So the sensory function, so it is starting from the anterior 2/3. The tongue contains 3 parts. Anterior 2/3 part contains taste buds. So in the starting from the anterior 2/3 of taste buds to ending from the pons varoli. So they are the facial nerve. Next one, 8th one, vestibulocochlear nerve. Vestibulocochlear nerve. It contains 2 nerves. So this is also called as auditory nerve. Auditory nerve. So this nerve is called as sensory nerve. This nerve is the sensory nerve. So this nerve is the sensory nerve. So this nerve is sensory nerve. So in this vestibulocochlear nerve, it contains 2 nerves. First one, cochlear nerve. It is starting from organ of Corti. Organ of Corti of the ear. of the organ of cavity of the ear. It is ending. It is ending from junction of pons and medulla region. It is ending from pons and medulla region. It is ending from the pons and medulla region. Next one, vestibular part, vestibular nerve. Second one, vestibular. Next one, vestibular neuron. So it is starting from the, it is starting from ear ossicles and sulcus and utriculus of the inner ear, ending from fourth ventricle of brain, fourth ventricle of the brain, fourth ventricle of the brain. So these are the vestibulocochlear nerve. So this vestibulocochlear nerve is the sensory nerve. So it contains two neurons. One is the cochlear neuron, another one is the vestibular neuron. So the cochlear neuron is starting from the origin of cavity. So it is ending from the junction of the pons and medulla region. Next one, vestibular nerve. So they are starting from the ear ossicles, sulcus and utriculus of the inner ear, ending from the fourth ventricle of the brain, So they are the vestibulocochlear nerve. Next one, ninth one, glossopharyngeal nerve. Next one, ninth one, glossopharyngeal nerve. So the glossopharyngeal nerve is a mixed nerve. So they are the mixed nerve. Mixed nerve means they are the sensory function and motor function. First one, motor function. So the motor fibers arising from medulla oblongata, arising from the medulla and ending from the muscles of pharynx, parotid, maxillary and mandibular glands. So these are the motor neurons. So the motor fibers arising from the medulla. It is ending from the pharynx, muscles of the pharynx, parotid gland, submaxillary gland and sublingual glands. So they are the motor function. Next one, sensory function. So in this sensory fibers arise from posterior third part of the tongue, and ending from medulla, So they are the sensory function and motor function. So the sensory function, so these sensory fibers arising from the posterior third part of the tongue, posterior third part of the tongue, and ending from the medulla oblongata, ending from the medulla oblongata. So they are the glossopharyngeal nerve. Next one, vagus nerve. Next one, vagus nerve. 10th one, vagus nerve. Vagus nerve. So this vagus nerve is called as a mixed nerve. So these are the mixed nerve. So these are the mixed nerve. First one, sensory function. First one, sensory. In this neuron, starting from or arising from lungs, heart, esophagus, stomach, and intestine, ending from medulla oblongata and ending from medulla oblongata. Ending the medulla oblongata. So they are the vagus nerve. So the vagus nerve is a mixed nerve. Mixed nerve means the sensory function and motor function. Sensory and motor function. So the first one, sensory function. So these sensory neurons. So these sensory neurons is starting from the lungs, heart, esophagus, stomach, and intestine. These regions to starting and ending from the medulla oblongata. Next one, motor function. So in this motor neuron, starting from medulla oblongata, and ending lungs, heart, esophagus, stomach, and intestine. So these are the vagus nerve. So this vagus nerve is starting from the sensory function and motor function. So they are starting from the lungs, heart, esophagus, stomach, and intestine, ending from the medulla oblongata. Same motor neuron, it is starting from the medulla oblongata to lungs, heart, esophagus, stomach, and intestine. So these are the vagus nerve. Next one, 11th one, spinal accessory nerve. Next one, 11th one, spinal accessory nerve. So the spinal accessory nerve is also called as a motor nerve. It is a motor nerve. So spinal accessory nerve is a motor nerve. It is starting from medulla oblongata. It is starting from the medulla oblongata and ending from so they are the pharynx, larynx, neck and shoulder. So these are the spinal accessory nerve. So the spinal accessory nerve is a motor nerve. So motor nerve means they are starting from the central nervous system, ending from the sensory organs. So in this spinal accessory nerve is starting from the medulla oblongata, and ending from the pharynx, larynx, neck and shoulder muscles, neck and shoulder muscles. So they are the motor function. Next one, 12th one, hypoglossal nerve. 12th one, hypoglossal nerve. Hypoglossal nerve. 12th one, hypoglossal nerve. So in this hypoglossal nerve is a motor neuron. It is a motor neuron. It is a motor neuron. Hypoglossal nerve is a motor neuron. It is starting from, it is arising from medulla. It is arising from medulla and ending from tongue muscles. Ending from tongue. It is control of tongue muscles. The control of tongue muscles means the movement of the tongue, means speaking, deglutition. So they are helping from the speaking and deglutition, so that hearing the food materials. So these are the helps from the 12th nerve, hypoglossal nerve. So this hypoglossal nerve starting from the middle oblongata, ending from the muscles of the tongue. So they are helps from the movement of tongue. So they are helps from the movement of tongue. It is helps movement of tongue. So these are the 12 pairs of the cranial nerves. 12 pairs of the cranial nerves. Olfactory nerve, optic nerve, oculomotor nerve, trochlear nerve, trigeminal nerve, abducens nerve, facial nerve, vestibulocochlear nerve, glossopharyngeal nerve, vagus nerve, spinal accessory nerve and hypoglossal nerve. So they are the cranial nerves.